Hey Pony Pals! So we decided we're going to do something a little bit different for some of our upcoming YouTube videos. We got some requests that we should do some movie and TV show reviews of horse movies and TV shows. And I personally, I hate horse movies. I hate horse movies so much. And unpopular opinion, I don't even like Secretariat, by the way. I just don't, they just never get it right. They never seem to get it right. We are going to torture me extensively.
Subject you to.
Yeah, subject me to the torture that are horse movies. And most of these we have not seen. So you guys will be getting our kind of blind, honest review of these movies when we actually sit down to talk about them after watching them. We're going to watch them off camera. And we actually did, today we're going to start with Netflix. And I went through, I searched horse. And I took the first 20 movies, and I put them into a random number generator, and we got number 19, which on our screen is Barbie and her sisters.
Ponytail.
Barbie and her sisters in a ponytail. Now, I love Barbie movies. So, this could be a love-hate relationship for me.
More singing.
More singing. Yeah, maybe? I don't, some of the new Barbie movies don't have singing in them, so we'll see. But this will be really interesting. So we're going to watch Barbie and her sisters in a ponytail.
1 hour later.
Okay, so we just finished watching Barbie and her sisters in a ponytail, and this is on Netflix, if you guys want to watch that. But we kind of compiled some thoughts about the movie, and I guess at the end of that we will say whether or not we recommend they actually watch the movie. Okay? Plot. Let's start with plot. I thought there was too many.
Quite a few.
There's I can't even say that there's a main plot line. I mean, I guess the closest thing to a main plot line is the whole saving the riding school thing. But you have Barbie and this, she's looking for a horse to take home, and that's a plot line. And then there's a plot line for
each sister. Yep. So almost every character has a little plot.
Yeah, every character has their own thing to do, which is fine, but I just wish that they'd focus on one for longer than 20 seconds at a time. I feel like I should have timed it because it was super short. So the sisters are prepping for the competition. The tween sister Stacy, her horse, she thinks she knows a lot more than she really does about riding. The younger sister, Chelsea, doesn't like the horse she's paired with.
But she's a little horse crazy girl.
Yeah, she's a little horse crazy girl. And then Skipper, who is the oldest, the older sister, she's tech crazed. She doesn't want to be there. She's the whole oh, I want to be at TechCon instead of riding.
Yeah, she's a blogger.
Mm-hmm. And she won't tear herself away from her from her iPad or whatever. But the main plot seems to be Barbie, which it should be. It's a Barbie movie, right? It's about her. And so the basics of the plot in general it is your typical save the riding school via this prestigious competition because we don't have enough money to keep going, and we need the newcomer to rise up and be, the champion.
They are, however, the finest. They have the finest horses
in all of Switzerland. Yeah.
And Barbie, of course, is the best rider on the West Coast.
Yeah, that was kind of an interesting little tidbit. But as far as the basics of the plot, you got the whole magic wild horse thing that nobody can see or touch or anything, and then you got Barbie, the main character, bonding with said horse and riding it in the competition. There's a rival riding school romance, Skipper kind of falls for the guy, or actually the guy falls for her.
For Skipper, because Skipper's anyway, without giving too much away.
Yeah. And then there's an evil villain that tries to stop them from saving the farm.
The riding instructor was interesting.
Both of them, yeah.
But
let's a little at a time. We're going plot basics first. You're getting way ahead of here. Ends with a happy ending, of course. The villain gets, and this is so weird, the villain's mom shows up and scolds him. Okay, so Barbie ends up setting her horse free at the end for some stupid reason, and the whole entire movie they make it seem like there's only one of these horses left. And then at the very end, all of a sudden, wow, a herd of them shows up at the farm. Wow. It was a little contrived, a little weird. But for a Barbie fantasy movie, I think the plot was a lot of fun. I just wish that we had time to get to know the characters a little better, because the characters are pretty cool. Each of the characters has their own unique design, which is saying something because there are so many. Mm-hmm. So you have Barbie, Skipper, Stacy, and Chelsea, and that's the Roberts family. That's all the sisters. And then you have the riding school family, which is like their aunt and their cousins. There's Max and his sister, who I cannot remember the name of the sister, but I remember Max. And it's almost like they tried to subvert your expectations, where Max is a little bit more feminine and the girl is a little bit more masculine. Max is kind of like fashion obsessed a little bit, and then the girl is like really into like samurais and stuff, which I thought was pretty fun. I like this little bit that they have like a big ball at the riding academy for like this big competition, and the cousin comes in and she's like, oh, is this okay to wear?
Camo.
Yeah, and she comes in with like camo and stuff. She's like, oh, is this okay to wear? And they don't like make any comments or anything, but they immediately like start to give her a makeover,
which she loves.
So I thought that was kind of fun that they weren't like oh no, that's tacky or anything, but like the sisters just kind of go in and give her a makeover. The riding instructor he's the tall, thin French riding instructor. There's two riding instructors.
He's the good brother. He's the good brother.
He's the good brother. So he's really, really over dramatic, but then he has like this really soft, sweet side, and he loves horses. Like, loves horses a lot. There's a really, really sweet scene.
Cares for them.
Yeah.
As opposed to now his evil brother.
Mm-hmm. But there's a really sweet scene with the riding instructor that like he's in the stable at night singing to his horse and feeding his horse and everything. But then his brother is evil and short and a little on the heavy side and looks evil. Like if he could get, they didn't give him a mustache, but if he could be that mustache twirling evil villain, that would have been just even more stereotypic. He's searching for the majestique, and he thinks of horses as like a means to an end, like a tool, instead of like where his old, I think it's his, is it, I can't remember.
I can't
if it was
tell
the
if they're
older
brother, but
or if they're
twins.
twins, yeah.
Yeah,
Twins. Because you can have twins that aren't, that don't look like. And then there's the rival school kids, which come in the beginning and they're like, like that kind of like haughty riding school rival kids. Character design is really important in order to like be able to tell these characters apart, and they did a really good job with that too. And all of them ride a different color horse, which is also nice. Because even though it might not be the most accurate thing, I mean, like me and my friends would ride a bunch of bays. Like we all have bays, even though all of our bays look different. But it's still nice when you have the ability to put a character on a different like color horse than another character. As far as like the accuracy of the actual horse stuff, the horse colors are all accurate minus the majestique, but I will give them that because it's fantasy. Total fantasy.
And actually it wasn't terrible.
No,
it was only a stripe of pink in the hair in the mane. Right. So which personally, like as someone who kind of writes fantasy a lot, I think it would have been over the top for them to like explain that. Like because they could have said that, oh, it's pink because of the salt in the rocks that the horses rub on the rocks and they dye their but it was just that like that would have been too much. That would have been too much info. So they're just like, yeah, hair's pink. That's fine. That's totally fine. The tack is pretty accurate. The horses, for some reason, I mean, like, somebody obviously did their research. They did their research. The only like nitpicky things that I got are the horses are wearing flash nosebands, but they're not wearing them right. The flash nosebands are supposed to go over the bit. I can put a little picture up here of like what they did. They're like under the bit, which is a little bit odd. And then in some scenes, or just one scene in particular, I think, Stacy's stirrup is like It's almost touching the ground.
Yeah, but it's like tucked into her saddle, nice, the right length, whatever. And then like the very next, they cut to a different camera angle, and all of a sudden it's like on the ground. The backs of the saddles are really long. Like the actual like seat of the saddle is super long, but they look like English saddles, and that's super, as opposed to what the Barbie saddles used to look like, and the Barbie bridles and stuff used to look like.
Fun thing, they match. Everything matches.
Yes, everything matches.
But I think that goes in character with Max.
Yes.
Because he likes everything matched.
Oh, yeah.
Matchy.
Yeah. But I like that they actually took the time to do the research to make, like, these character design choices that were accurate. Some of the girls are riding in, like, skirts and sandals, which eventually does change. It's like right when they get to the farm, and then, like, eventually that changes. The barn is really well set up and gorgeous, and all the stalls are big, you know, like they have the big spacious stalls, and like each stall has like hay bale sitting out in front of it and all that. But the only thing I don't like about the barn is that the horses' like equipment is stored in the stall with them, which is super unsafe. Like there's just hooks in the stall, like lead ropes and stuff hanging on those hooks in the stall, which is like super not safe. Some things are a little bit less than accurate. There's a scene where like the riding instructor's trying to teach Stacy how to use a curry comb, and it is like awful. It is so bad. She's brushing the wrong way, for one, and then he tells her like big swooping motions with a curry comb.
It's swooping.
Yeah, he's like big swooping motions, and it's like, no, you curry, the curry is to loosen dirt.
Call it swooping.
And then on top of that, the curry comb is not a curry comb. It's one of those cheap plastic elongated brushes that you'd use for like your dog. Another one was before, and this particular scene that I'm going to talk about, I have a little bit of a love-hate relationship with, because they're just getting Stacy and Chelsea started on riding, and Max goes to explain the history of the English saddle, and then pulls up an Australian saddle. Yeah. Like, he has a picture of an Australian saddle. And it's like, honey, no. Like, no. But then his younger sister is like, just get on the horse already. And Max is like, fine. Hundreds of years of tradition and skill and all this stuff just thrown out the window, just get on the horse. And I thought that was really, really great to put in there, because like, yeah, you should kind of know about certain stuff before you get on the horse, but also as like a little dig at the movie itself, like, we've only got like an hour and a half here, we gotta speed this up. The horse models I have a little bit of an issue with, because they are a little clunky, which is the case in like 90% of animated films that have horses in them that do not have anybody on staff who has ever looked at a horse before. Just because they move weird, and yes, it can kind of be counted as a stylistic choice, but they look really funky when they jump. There's a scene at the end with Barbie, maybe I can cut to it right here, where she's jumping over the riding instructor at the end, and the legs on the horse are really, really weird. The horses still all have their wolf teeth in for some reason, which I don't know what model they were looking at. Like, I don't know what kind of skeleton they were looking at when they modeled these horses, because wolf teeth get removed when horses are babies, because that's where their bit sits. So there's like a really, really blatant scene where the horses smile.
Their horses don't have bits. They don't show
No, they
the bits.
did.
Did they have the bits? I really didn't see
the
that.
Bits, yes,
well,
the bits are in the mouth.
In that particular picture, I don't know that they did.
I thought it was sitting behind the wolf teeth, which was weird. Moving on to the dialogue and the voice acting, I don't have a lot of complaints here. I think it was fine. I think it was perfectly serviceable. I love the voice actors for Barbie and Chelsea and the two riding instructors. I thought that the delivery was fantastic, and they were really like true to character. I don't like the voice acting for Stacy and Skipper and the entirety of the Riding Academy family. And that's just kind of like, they're fine.
Yeah, it's almost like an afterthought.
Yeah, it didn't really bother me as much as like the voice acting does in some other films. But this does have one of the cheesiest lines I've ever heard at one point, and like, I think we kind of go without saying that this is all spoilers, you know? But at one point, Barbie's girth gets cut on her saddle in the main competition, and she gets back on bareback and basically says, "Born free, ride free." And I'm like, that is one of the worst pieces of dialogue I've ever heard.
He can't stop us. Come on, Majesty. Born free, ride free.
And I'm sure that there are more horse movies that we're going to come across that are going to have worse lines than that. We're probably just going to have to keep a running tab of like these terrible voice lines. On to the animation style, and this is the last thing we're going to talk about. I really like the style of it. I've always liked Barbie movies. I like how they're able to adhere to the style of the doll while still making it feel a little bit more lifelike. Like it's not quite, you can't quite compare it to Toy Story where like they look like toys, they are toys. But I like the whole, they look like the dolls, but you have a sense that they're actually like doing real things in a real setting.
And even as Barbie movies have come along in the past, because we've watched all of them, they still, I mean, just the technology has still made Barbie look like Barbie.
Yeah.
Only just better.
Yeah.
You know, technology-wise.
Yes.
So it's still Barbie. You can tell it's still a Barbie movie.
But they're
still
not
Barbie,
plastic.
But they're not,
They're not plastic. And that was kind of a thing with some of the older Barbie movies, especially when it came to the horses, is the horses looked exactly like the toy
the
line.
plastic toys.
And it was a little,
yeah.
You know? The horses had a bit of weird fur texture, but it fit stylistically. It just bugged me a little bit, because they looked like flockies. Describing, like, the actual, like, Majestique breed. That was a really cool bit of 2D animation, and it was super stylized and really just, like, a fun way to kind of put that sequence in without making it feel, I mean, like you could tell that they were taking time apart from real life to tell a story. Which was cool. So I like when movies switch to 2D animation like that for that kind of thing. And at the end, and this is something that I like to geek out about, at the end they added some of the rough storyboards for the credits sequence.
Cool.
And that was really neat to see like the process of...
People don't pay attention to the end, and you actually should watch the end.
Yeah, watch the end credits, because the actual the storyboard roughs are so nice. And one of the things I forgot to mention when we were talking about characters and character design is... along with the horses, like everybody having their own unique horse color that, you know, their horse that they ride, some of the horses had like traits that directly mirrored their rider. Chelsea had curly hair. Her pony that she rode had slightly curly blonde hair. I think they had almost the same eye color as well. Skipper and her horse, they had roughly the same hair color, and then they also had like a streak dyed in it, which was cool. Yeah. And then Barbie's ponytail, the nice swooping ponytail, the characteristic Barbie ponytail, looks exactly like the Majestique's tail, which I think is a brilliant choice. Like, that's a really good way to be able to connect these two characters, which is something that I do with my own art, actually, is the forelock on this horse character I have matches the bangs on the human character that rides it. So that's a great way to make that character connection. All right, so would you recommend Barbie and her sisters in a ponytail?
I recommend all Barbie movies. I think they're fun. Just fun.
If you like, and I will say that I did not hate this one. I don't like horse movies. This was actually pretty fun. And I don't know if that's just because it's a Barbie movie and I enjoy them.
It's because it's a Barbie movie. It's just fun.
But I really adore this movie. I think it's a good choice if you just want something really fun. There are some scenes that you can poke fun at, but it is a really pretty movie, nice animated movie, and I think it definitely is a deserving movie of at least one watch. If you guys like horse movies. Alright, thanks Pony Pals. This has been our first movie review. If you guys have any suggestions on what movies we should watch next, or even TV shows, we'll give a TV show a shot. You can drop those in the comments below. But until next time, Pony Pals, bye! Bye.